On my channel recently, I have done 2 retrospectives in regards to Funko's subscription boxes. I took a look back at the Marvel Collector Corps box. I also took a look back at the DC Comics Legion of Collectors box. And now I'm moving on here to the Smuggler's Bounty box, which of course is Star Wars focused. And I got to go ahead and tell you, excluding the Disney Treasures box, which is very new, I'm not going to focus on that one. I'm actually not even going to consider that one right now in terms of comparing the boxes because, like I said, that one is very new. They're only on their 3rd box, so I'm just going to exclude them for now. But, you know, comparing the 3 boxes that I've already mentioned, I got to say that Smuggler's Bounty by far has the most value and is the most consistent box probably that Funko has going. And I think you'll see that as I go through these boxes here. Now, I'm a casual Star Wars fan. That means I've seen all of the movies. You know, I'm familiar with the characters and everything, you know, the main characters, but I'm not really deep into the lore. So I did have to do some research here, but I actually had fun with that. You know, it's pretty interesting to see where some of their concepts came from for these boxes. And I've only ever received 1 Smuggler's Bounty box, and I will mention that once I get to it. Now, I'm going to go through the boxes in chronological order, and there will be spoilers, of course, all the way through, including for the latest box, the Droids box. So if you don't want to see what is in that box, I suggest that you come back to this video later on after you have received your box. I'm telling you right now, there will be spoilers all the way through. Okay, so let's go on and get into it. So kicking things off here, and I am going to go in chronological order. So kicking things off with their first box, I think they started off on the right foot. I like that they had 1 of 4 t-shirts that you could get. And of course, I know some people may have gotten a t-shirt that they didn't want. You know, they didn't get the one they were hoping for. But these shirts, I don't think they jump up in value. So, you know, some people sell them immediately, and I don't think they really mark up the price that much. Or maybe you could have traded with somebody if you have a lot of friends that are into Star Wars and collecting as well. So I like the variety. I think overall the variety is a positive thing, you know, when it comes to the t-shirts and just the boxes in general. Now, they started off with 2 pop figures, which is definitely pretty cool. So they had the chrome-plated Captain Phasma, which definitely outshines the common. I mean, it literally outshines it since it's chrome. So I thought that was awesome. Then they had the TIE Fighter pilot with a chance to get a chase variant. Now, honestly, you know, it's kind of a lazy chase variant, but it is true to Star Wars, and they did have the 2 red stripes going. And I think that actually adds some excitement to the box. You know, people are hoping for that chase variant. That's something that the other boxes could learn from, because I kind of get the feeling that Funko may have different teams working on these different boxes. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it really feels that way because there's such a difference in the way that these boxes are handled. And I only remember out of those other boxes one time there being a chance for a chase variant, and that was the Morbius, the zombie Morbius figure. So yeah, I think they should do that more often. But again, this box overall here, pretty solid. Started off with 2 pop figures, and try to keep count as I go through these boxes how many times the Smuggler's Bounty gave 2 pop figures, because they definitely outshine the other boxes when it comes to that. So the next box, let's be blunt, definitely not as impressive as the first, but not overall not a bad box, just not nearly as impressive as the first. Now, they did have different colors for the t-shirts, which I think is cool, even though they're all still dark colors, but you kind of expect that with Star Wars. I mean, maybe they could mix it up in the future and figure out how to work in some brighter colors, but still, I like the design of the shirt, and I'm fine with the pop art. I mean, if you're going to be signed up for a Funko subscription box, I think you kind of got to expect pop art more often than not. So, you know, a lot of people don't like it, but to me, it's that's what they do, you know, so I don't have a big problem with that. Now, the Chewbacca, I think it made so much sense to do a flocked Chewbacca, and I know a lot of people may have already had Chewbacca in their collection, but, I mean, come on, you got to have a flocked one. So, I think that was a cool choice for a pop figure. Now, that mug, I think, is definitely weak, and if they weren't going to get 2 pop figures, that means that whatever other big item they included, they really need to bring it with it, and they dropped the ball there. That mug, to me, it just at a glance, it does not scream C-3PO to me. I think they went with the wrong color. It's like a mustard looking color, and not even that bright yellow mustard. It looks like they got some spicy brown mustard going on or something. And then also, I don't think the pop eyes helped any here. They probably should have changed up the eyes just for the sake of making it truer to the character in this circumstance. And then also the The red handle is fine. I mean, I get the reference to C-3PO having the red arm in The Force Awakens. You know, that's fine, but still overall just not a well-designed mug, and I think it probably left some people feeling a little bit cheated there. But of course, with these boxes, normally the pop, you get your value out of it mainly with the pop figure, and I think the t-shirt, you know, is cool enough too. So again, not an amazing box, but not necessarily a bad one either. Okay, so the next box here, this was the first one to stray away from the whole Force Awakens craze, which, you know, it's good that they mix things up. And I think it does make a lot of sense to kind of piggyback off of the hype around the movie and then, you know, break away at times. So it was cool that they broke away here. And they really dug into some Star Wars lore in terms of actual toys or collectibles here. So if you don't know, the character here is Snaggletooth. And again, two pops, people, two pops. Snaggletooth, when it was originally made by Kenner, they based their figure off of a black and white image. So basically they did the character incorrectly. I mean, it's not really their fault, but that was all they had to go on. So they put him in a blue suit, which was not accurate, and I don't think they had his proportions accurate either. So they had to redo the figure in a red suit, and not quite as tall, and his skin coloring was different. Just some different details basically going on. So that made that original blue action figure rare and valuable. So that's what Funko decided to play on here, and I thought that was pretty cool that they did that. So once again, you know, a Chase variant, you see the eyes there, 1 and 5. I thought that was nice. They had another pop figure, Ben Kenobi, kind of a simple figure, but I mean, it's true to the character, and at least he is in a action pose, like he's getting ready to duel there. So that's cool. And again, 1 of 4 shirts also, so different options. And I know a lot of people really wanted Han Solo, of course, but I think it's cool that they did have some more obscure characters there as well. And the filler item, a pin topper, again, I'm fine with that. I think they could do those from time to time. I'm actually surprised that I don't think I've ever seen a pin topper in any of the other boxes up to this point. I think they could, you know, throw that in sometime just to mix things up. Now, this box here is the one that I actually got, and the way that I got it is Funko at some point, I can't remember when it was a couple of months back, they gave a free box to people that were subscribed to at least one of their subscription boxes, and a lot of people ended up with Smuggler's Bounty. I don't know if that's because the boxes weren't selling well or if they're overproduced. I really don't know. But I thought this was a cool box to get because I like the t-shirt. I mean, it's nice that it has some characters again on there that are somewhat obscure, you know, for a casual Star Wars fan. But of course, the main thing that made this box was that very epic Boba Fett pop. At that point, I think this was one of the most amazing pops that Funko had ever done, and a lot of people could still say that it is. Now, since they have done Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in a similar way, you know, maybe that takes some of the shine off of this particular figure, but still, I think it is amazing. And as a matter of fact, when I first saw images of it, I was like, that's got to be a custom. I just could not believe that Funko was putting out a pop that cool in a subscription box, you know, where a lot of people could get their hands on it. But it turned out to be the real deal, and like I said, I think it is one of the best that they have ever done. And then on top of that, they included another pop of IG-88, which, like I said, for a casual fan might be an obscure character, but I actually did a little research on him. He actually is a pretty cool character. You know, a lot of people traded him away because I think they just didn't know much about him, which is understandable. But yeah, if you do some background on the character, I think he is pretty cool. And as a matter of fact, I almost wish that I'd hung on to these two pop figures here. Not looking to trade people. I'm just saying. That I think both of these were pretty legit, and this was just an awesome box. Now, Smuggler's Bounty definitely has its ups and downs, and after that amazing high there with the previous box, Jabba's Palace not nearly as impressive. So they included a hat, and I've said, you know, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but I gotta say again, I feel like their hats are kind of designed with kids in mind, and that one to me is just weak. I don't think it even screams Star Wars necessarily. If you just glance at that hat, I don't think you think Star Wars automatically, and it does have C-3PO on it, but he's so stylized, and you know, with that pop art style, like, it doesn't even really look like C-3PO necessarily, and it also looks almost like the bottom half of his head, or bottom part of his head, is cut off or something. It's just a weird design, so I'm not crazy about that hat at all. The pop figure I thought was okay, And something that you have to get used to with the Smuggler's Bounty is that you are going to end up with a lot of variants of very popular characters. I mean, that's just going to happen for better or worse. You know, it's something that comes along with it. That particular pop, like I said, I think it was designed pretty cool. I don't know if anybody had any issues, any out-of-box collectors had issues with it, especially with that arm being up top. I don't know if that was fragile or anything like that. It looks a little fragile. I don't think it was, but I mean, somebody could let me know if you had any issues with it, especially any out-of-box collectors. But yeah, I think it was fine overall. The plush, I'm very surprised that they went with Boba Fett. To me, you cannot do an amazing Boba Fett pop and then turn around and give a Boba Fett plush. I think they should have went with a different character there. And since it's Jabba's palace, they could have done Salacious B. Crumb, you know, or maybe even some other character. But yeah, I think the Boba Fett plush was just kind of odd. Jabba Hutt as on the mug, I think that was okay. Although, if Funko's going to get these mugs, they really need to space them out. I think that was a little bit too close to the other mug that they gave, the C-3PO one. So, yeah, I really feel like they've got to space out the mugs. I'm not against them giving them, but they just got to keep that in mind. People don't need a ton of these Funko mugs. So, moving back up again, because like I said, I feel like that previous box was a little bit of a low for them, but this box here was pretty cool. The Death Star box, the t-shirt was pretty legit. You know, they got Vader versus Kenobi there. That was fine. And they gave 2 pops. Again, people, 2 pop figures. So they had Darth Vader there, which I like that pose for Darth Vader. It's, you know, pretty cool overall. Doesn't really blow me away, but at the same time, I think it looks better than some of the other ones that Funko had done previously. And then they had Grand Moff Tarkin as well. And I also like that they actually tried to design his face to be true to the actor. They didn't go with the typical pop head. They did adjust the cheeks, you know, cheek area some, because the actor does have those very distinct cheekbones and then the sort of sunk in cheeks. So I like that they actually tried to do that to be true to the actor that played the character. And then the filler item was a luggage tag with the Death Star. You know, again, fine as far as filler items go. So this was a solid box overall. Now, moving on here, again, with a movie focus for Rogue One. I thought the t-shirt was on point. Again, pop art. I know some people aren't crazy about it, but I think that's a pretty good looking shirt there. They gave 2 pops again. Okay, and they had a variant of Jyn Erso and one of the Death Troopers. I really like the look of the Death Troopers, so I think both of those pops were very cool. And they included a new product, the Mini Hikari. You all keep in mind, this is the first time they had done a Mini Hikari, and they went with Darth Vader, of course, you know, one of the most well-known villains ever. So that was definitely cool. And they had the color variants as well, which I think, you know, that led to some trading and things, and I think that's cool. And I definitely like the gold one, especially. That's the main one that a lot of people wanted to get, you know, because I remember a couple people saying that the red one looks like Jello, you know, but you know, again, it's variety. I think variety is a good thing. So this pop to me had a lot of value going on. To give 2 pop figures and a Mini Hikari, I was definitely kind of jealous. I'm like, Smuggler's Bounty is just killing it, you know, in comparison to the other boxes. Now this box here, this is another one that had people hyped, although Funko did spoil it. But like I've said with the previous, you know, retrospectives, I think it's okay when they spoil the big figure, you know, the pop figure, because that lets you know whether or not you want to spend your money. So sharing that Pop Deluxe, I was fine with that. Han Solo on the Tauntaun is just amazing. They did a great job with that. The other items, though, now here's where I want to talk about side items. Excuse me. So the socks. Okay, socks are okay though, and those aren't a bad design. You know, that's fine. And the plush, I mean, the plush is okay again, but I think Funko has to be careful about their side items that they put into the box, because the side items can make a great box seem like a weak one, basically. And I think this was one of those cases. If it wasn't for the Pop Deluxe, I mean, you know, basically, if it wasn't that Pop Deluxe, if it was just a regular pop with this, I think people really would have felt cheated. So, yeah, like I said, Funko just has to be very careful about the side items that they put in. And I still feel like socks should be like a clothing option, like an add-on option or something like that. Not just something that they give to everybody. Now, again here, 2 pops for Star Wars Rebels, including that amazing Darth Maul figure. When I saw that one, I was absolutely blown away. I was so happy to report on that in Funko News as well. That's just impressive. And then Captain Rex as well. It's a big character in the series from what I hear. I don't follow that series, but I know that a lot of people are fans of that character, and I kind of understand that. I guess he was gone from the series for a while, and then he came back. Somebody can kind of tell me the quick backstory there. But not only did they give 2 pops, again, they gave a mini Hikari figure here of Chopper. I believe that's that droid's name, and like I said, just impressive. And they had another t-shirt where it was pop art style, but very true to Star Wars, and Star Wars Rebels in this case. So I thought this was an impressive box, even though I know very little about Star Wars Rebels, as you can tell, but still very impressive to me overall. Now, here is where I feel like Smuggler's Bounty made one of his biggest missteps ever. They had some misleading box art, especially with the passing of Carrie Fisher. To have Princess Leia on the box and not have a single Princess Leia item, that felt like a bait and switch. It felt very cheap. I know a lot of people were upset by that, rightfully so. I have no idea why in the world they did that. I almost feel like they may have had another figure in mind for this box, and maybe they ended up changing their mind or something, but it almost feels like they used her image for sales and then kind of cheated people out of a Princess Leia item. So yeah, that was just not a smart business move at all. I really don't like that. Now, the Pop Deluxe, Luke in the speeder, that of course is very cool. But here again is where the side items are, if they're weak, they can make the box seem like just not a great box. It was already bad enough that they had the misleading box art. But then to give people these weak side items, salt and pepper shakers and the wristbands, it's just things that people don't have much use for, so even to display those salt and pepper shakers, like I said before, they're not that cool. So, and wristbands, really, that's just so out of left field. So this box, if it wasn't for the Pop Deluxe, it's almost a throwaway box, I'm still kind of aggravated that they had Princess Leia's image without an item for her being included. But, enough about that. Let me keep it moving. So remember, the latest box, the theme is Droids. And this is your last spoiler alert. I am about to get into what is in this box. Last chance. So I already shared before on Funko News, and like I said, Funko put the spoiler out there that there would be a C-3PO based off of his appearance in The Phantom Menace, where he's basically unfinished. And I think they did a really great design with that, the wiring and everything, all the different colors. Pretty cool pop figure there. And then, again, 2 pop figures, people. Again, 2 pop figures. They also have R5-D4, if you're not familiar with that particular droid there. He's actually in A New Hope. He was almost that, well, basically he was the droid that they had a choice between, is between him and R2-D2. Okay, so yeah, again, sort of a deep cut in terms of the movies there, so that's very cool. And the t-shirt design there is in the bottom right, and I love that it is such a specific movie reference from The Force Awakens, where the droids basically lined up that map. So, and even though I still don't completely understand how a map in space works, but it's a cool image though. Like, that's an awesome t-shirt. So those of you get in this box, yeah, this is a great box, I think. So let's break down the value of Smuggler's Bounty. Okay, so 7, if you were keeping count, hopefully you picked up on this, 7 out of the 11 boxes that have been done thus far came with 2 pops. Collector Corps and Legion of Collectors don't even come close to that. And then on top of that, 2 of those boxes also came with a mini Hikari. So that's 3 figures. That is 3 figures. Even if you're not a fan of a mini Hikari, acknowledge that it is a figure. So again, that's blowing away those other boxes. And then 2 of the 4 boxes that came without 2 pops included a Pop Deluxe. So in terms of value, Smuggler's Bounty is absolutely killing it compared to the other boxes. And I'll remind you again, that's excluding Disney Treasures, which is very new. Okay, so Smuggler's Bounty to me is just impressive when it comes down to it. So their next theme is Jedi. And I know that's going to get a lot of minds racing because, of course, they could do new characters here. They could do some cool variants of characters that have already been done. So I definitely want to hear from you all. Which Jedi do you want to see? And I think a lot of people would agree that you definitely would like to see 2 pops again. So yeah, let me know which Jedi you would like to see, whether you want to see 2 new ones that have not been done as pop figures, or are you down with, you know, seeing a variant of Jedi that have been done before. So yeah, definitely share your thoughts, because I'm looking forward to seeing those comments. And if you share some characters I haven't heard of before, I may do my little research and learn something about them, because even though I'm not like a big Star Wars fan, I do like to kind of learn about the lore. I really like that there is so much lore to Star Wars. It's very interesting to me personally. Yeah, so that's going to do it for this particular video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Don't forget to make sure that you like this video. Give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe. It's going to be a while before I do another one of these. Like I said, I'm not going to touch on Disney treasures until they have been out for a while, and I'm not going to come around to these boxes that I've already covered until they've done a good number of other boxes. So it will be a while before I do any other videos like this, but I really have enjoyed doing these thus far. I hope that you've enjoyed watching them. If you did not check out the other ones, please do so and give me feedback on those videos as well. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video, except for one little thing here at the end I want you to check out. But you all take care till next time.
Time is running out, only 30 seconds to go. Count 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 only 30 seconds to go.
30 seconds left.